Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay? Okay. My name's T-Bone. I'm an addict. It's good to be in a meeting of Narcotics Anonymous. Great to be clean. Thanks, Terry, for not fronting me off. He knows a lot of shit about me. Oh, I swear a lot. If you don't like it, you're fucked. I'm kind of scared because I've been hearing people talking all day about, I have a filter. You know, I don't. I left mine in my other pants, you know. I don't. I mean, I'm not like a circuit speaker. I don't really have a canned pitch. I don't know what I'm going to say. So I just kind of spit it and quit it and hope I said something that might help somebody. You know, this is for the people that are new. If you're new here, I'm no different than you. You know, you guys are my heroes. It ain't tough. It ain't easy. It's pretty tough getting clean, but for me, it's easy staying clean. And for you folks that got more clean time than me, look, it's still working. That's my message. You know, let's see. You know, I talk about drugs a little bit. This is called Narcotics Anonymous, so I'll probably talk about drugs a little bit. The first time I got high, I couldn't quit laughing. And the last time I got high, I couldn't stop crying. And that took almost 30 years to do. And my life was taken away from me. Not taken away, I gave it away. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. I gave my life away slowly over a period of time to the point where at the end of my using, I was living in this little bitty, you know, those little teardrop-shaped trailers that, you know, I mean, that's where I lived. It had a flat tire, no running water, no electricity, and I had a propane light that, I don't know, it's and it was on somebody's property in the foothills in San Diego, California. And it sounds kind of romantic, but it pretty much sucked. You know, it really did. And I thought I had it going on. You know what I mean? I never had a whole lot of trouble with cops. I didn't, you know, I know this sounds a little weird. I mean, I had run-ins with cops every once in a while. I wanted to tell you a story about Terry. I got one story I'm going to tell about Terry, though. It was hard to do speed with Terry because he can't hear worth a shit. So we'd be all getting all wired. We'd be talking all night, and all of a sudden he'd just jump up and go, "Well, fuck you guys!" And he'd run out of the house, and we wouldn't see him for a week because he thought we were talking about him. He'd get all fucking paranoid, and so that's the story of it. Sorry, dog. So anyway, I avoided, you know, I didn't really do a whole lot of like illegal activities other than getting high, and you know, I didn't like get into stolen merchandise, and I didn't knock people over the head, and I didn't do violent shit. You know what I mean? I just kind of got high and kind of manufactured and just kind of kept it to myself. You know, I realized early on that I couldn't deal worth a shit, so I just made the shit and did it all. That was my deal. And so I didn't really run into a whole lot of trouble with cops. And then August 23rd of 1995, I'm asleep in that little bitty trailer I'm telling you about. And I feel this incredible pressure pushing my nose over like this here. And I'm like, wow. And I open my eyes, and there's a 9mm right on my nose. And I'm thinking, this is probably bad. And then I looked, and there was an arm, and then hooked to the arm was a sheriff. And I'm thinking, good, because this ain't a ripoff. This could be real bad if this is a ripoff. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just a cop. And they thought, you know, I was right in the middle of doing something, and they had me cold, and it was a manufacturing beef, and I won't get into that. It's really nothing. I mean, it's just another part of the disease. But I went to jail that day, and during their search, they missed all the good stuff, and they missed the weapons, And I went to jail, and I sat in jail for like 3 weeks. And the public defender came to me and he said, okay, well, hey, you haven't been in trouble for a long time. Mostly drunken publics. I had a bunch of those. And they said, but you haven't been in big trouble for a long time, so we'll let you out of jail if you'll do this thing. And I go, what is that? And they said, well, it's called diversion, and you have to go to 24 Narcotics Anonymous meetings. And I'm like, whatever that is. And because I'd never heard of Narcotics Anonymous. I'd heard of the other program. I went, they got one for everything now. And then they said, and you have to stay clean for 6 months. And I'm thinking, well, I can stay clean for 6 months. I can quit anytime I want, right? I can quit anytime I want. You can't get hooked on speed. I've been shooting speed 27 years. You can't get hooked. See, because I'm a genius when I'm on that shit. You know what I mean? I'm smarter than everybody else. So I said, give me that pen, I'll sign that thing. And so they let me out of jail. And of course I didn't go to none of those Narcotics Anonymous meetings because I thought, that's pretty stupid that they would have me go to these Narcotics Anonymous meetings because I'm thinking, I'm not an addict. Addicts are out in the Walmart parking lot knocking old ladies over the head and crawling through people's windows and stealing their stereos. Now, I never did that. I had a few people do that for me, but I didn't do it. And so I didn't go to any meetings, and I just kept on using. And then one day I got this thing in the mail, and it said if you don't show up for this shit, we're going to put you back in jail. And I was not into having a boyfriend named Bubba, so I thought, I got to do something. I'm not a jail guy, okay? I don't like jail. And so I called up this place that I'm supposed to go to their classes. It's not Narcotics Anonymous, but it's this diversion class. And so I signed up and I started going. And everything's going real good. They said if you miss like 3 times, you're going back to jail. So I missed 2 times. You know how we are. And it was the first 2 times I was supposed to be there. And I go in there way high, and then I sit there like I'm falling asleep and shit. It's because I want them to not know I'm high, I'm like, my bottom jaw's got a life of its own. I'm like, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, I'm getting old. These people are idiots, man. And they're recovering addicts, by the way. And they're really good friends of mine today. These 2 people that were running this program. And so I think I'm getting away with it. And I go to this meeting, and finally I go a few times, and I'm high, and I still haven't gone to any meetings. And I go in there, and I go to this class thing, and then after the class, he goes, "You, come here." I'm like, uh-oh. And he goes, "Look, man, every time you come in here, every Monday, you come in here and you're high. You're high as hell." And I'm like, how does he know? And I'm like, I weigh like 145 pounds. I got 1 tooth in my head. When I smiled, you could hear the fucking ocean, right? He goes, "I know you're high, so next Monday when you come in here, be straight, because I'm going to test you." I'm like, no problem. I can quit anytime I want. So I go home, and you know the drill. Okay, so I leave there on a Monday, so I'm going to get high on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not Friday, and then not Saturday, and not Sunday, so that I can go in Monday and test clean. So that didn't work. And it didn't work with you guys either. Or you would not be, if you can do that shit, you're not sitting here tonight. The people that can do that ain't here tonight. So I go in there, I tried to quit using on that Friday, and man, it was like the roughest 2 hours of my life. It was miserable. And so what do you do when you can't do it? So, you know, when you come to the realization that you can't do something, you lie. You know, that's my best tool. And so I went in there. I had this really cool story on Monday morning. I'm going to go in there and say, like, you know, the gypsies kidnapped me last night. And they fucking held me down and shot me full of drugs, and I'm probably going to test dirty today. I mean, really, I had some stupid story like that. And I walked in, and he took one look at me and goes, you can't quit using, can you? And I go, guess not. And, you know, I don't know about anybody else, but where I'm from, you never cop to nothing. You know what I mean? You never cop to, I don't give a shit if you got me on a video. Wasn't me. But he just hypnotized me. He goes, can't quit using, can you? I'm like, no. I guess I can't. He goes, using a needle, I hope. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, and that kind of puzzled me. He goes, good, because I can get you into a detox quicker then. Sit right there. And so I'm already sitting in his office, way high again. And he gets on the phone, and he's calling me, he's going to put me in a detox, like, right away. Now, I've never been to a detox. And I'm thinking, you ever see that movie, Reefer Madness? You know, where the guys are all, and they chain them to beds and shit. And I'm thinking, it's a 10-day detox. I think, they're going to chain me to a bed for 10 days. Run! Now! But something's telling me not to run. So he calls around, and he can't find a bed for me just right at that very moment. So he goes, okay, well, you go home and get ready to go to detox. So I went home and got ready to go to detox. I mean, why go to detox unless you're fucking toxed, right? So I went and got my tox on, you know? So, you know, I had to call in like every day, which was sucked because I was way out in the hills and I had to find a quarter every day and go to a payphone. They had payphones and shit, and they didn't have cell phones. And I had to call this place to see if they had a bed for me. And finally, out like the fourth day, I call them and they go, we got a bed for you. And I go, I have to get my affairs in order. I got no affairs. I got no address. I got nothing. And I got to get my affairs. And they're like, shut up. Get in here. You got to be in here at noon tomorrow. And I'm like, noon tomorrow. I'm like, okay. And this is in Escondido, California. And I had to be in Oceanside, California, which is like 20 miles away the next day. And I got like 14 hours to get there. And but I don't have a car, and I'm way out in the country, and so you know, I had a group of friends without R's, fiends that were around me, and I got them high every day. And I said, "Hey, man, will you give me a ride to detox?" And they were like, "No, we're busy, and besides, we only have one headlight, and we don't have a license, and nobody had a license." And so we're not going to give you a ride to detox. And it pissed me off, you know, it hurt my feelings because I got these people high for a long time. And I was like, so finally, by the way, this is the day before, so it gets to be dark. And, you know, and by the way, every day I was trying to quit using. And I lived in this little bitty trailer, and this little bitty trailer had no running water. And the only lights in it was one of those, they're like a Coleman lantern, but they stick to a wall. You know, they come out of a little thing, and you got to put one of those little mantle things on there. You got to be real careful with the silk mantle thing. And well, mine was like dangling like that shit, you know. So I was a little tardy with changing those fucking things. And so basically I got a flame blasting out of the wall all the time. And so it doesn't put out very good light. And so the light's going woof, woof. You ever try to shoot dope when the light's going like woof? You'd be like woof, woof, woof. It's hard shooting dope like that. It's hard. And every night I'd wind up, you know, every day I would try, I'd say, I'm not going to use today. And every night I wound up at 2 in the morning trying to shoot dope with that fucking woo. And it was hell, man. It was hell. I was at my bottom. And so the night before I'm supposed to go to this detox, right? I'm thinking I got something coming. You know. This is the last time I'm going to ever get high ever again. Never going to get high. You know, because that's how I didn't know about the one-day thing. Nobody told me about 24 hours at a time. They're like, you're going to detox and never going to use again. I'm like, this is going to be boring. I'm never going to get laid again. This guy, you know, I mean, what am I going to do for fun? You know, because my whole life of thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. And getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. I mean, I thought this was foreplay, you know? Hey, it fucking worked. Everybody's laughing and pointing at each other, too. I see that shit. Yeah, baby. So anyway, I'm in this little trailer, and I'm thinking that I got one last shot coming, right? And I'm trying to get this last shot, and I don't have any veins left, and this point that I got, I sharpened it on a matchbook best I could. And I got a little bit of blood in the rig, and I got like a teener in this fucking rig, and it's got blood in it, and it's coagulating, and I don't have no veins, and I'm stabbing myself over and over and over, and I'm covered with blood here, there. I never shot up in my neck because every time I tied off, I passed out. You know? I never did figure that out, how people shot up in their neck. I was like. But anyway, I'm covered with blood. Hands, feet, everything, every place you could possibly think there was a vein. Even today, I got no veins, you know. They got to get this, they got a special machine at the VA when they got to find a vein on me that's a big red light and it shows right where the veins are. I'm like, where the fuck was that thing when I was? I could be successful through technology again. They find them real easy on me now, but anyway, I'm trying to get this, and I'm covered with blood, and I'm crying, and the light's going woof, woof. And I'm also insane as hell because nobody would come around me. I always carried a little pistol in the back of my pants there, and it was just like a little .22 long rifle. And I was a gangster, you know. I never had it on safety, so I was ready to shoot my ass off at any. How I never shot my ass off, I don't know. I mean, because I should have shot myself in the ass a bunch of times. But I didn't. And so I'm getting suicidal. I'm thinking, fuck going to recovery, or fuck going to detox. God, you owe me this one last time, and I can't get it, and I can't get it. And I said to myself, if you can't get this next time, just reach back there and get the gun and shoot yourself in the face. So I tried again, and I couldn't get it. And then my disease started talking. Hey, let's talk this over. My disease is like, hey, let's talk. Hey, try the other arm. And I tried the other arm, and I couldn't get it. And anyway, long story short, I don't mean to jones you out, but that was my bottom. I sat there covered with blood by myself in the dark. Nobody would come around me. No one wanted to be around me. I hated myself, and I couldn't blame anybody else or anything else. And it was all me, backed into a fucking corner of my own making. Whew. And you know what? That was the loneliest place I have ever been. And so I threw the rig down, threw the gun down, and started walking. The sun was coming up by the time this was happening, so I turned off the light going, whoo, 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 I think. And started walking, you know, it's 20 miles, and I run into certain people that I know, and they're like, nah, we're fucking busy, we can't take you. And finally I got a hold of a buddy of mine. He goes, yeah, man, I'll take you to detox. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, let me borrow my mom's car. We're like 40 years old. He's borrowing his mom's car. And he's living at home, and I got it going on because I'm homeless, right? And he goes, yeah, let me see if I can get the keys to my mom's car. So he shows up, and he goes, you got any dope? And I go, yeah, I got some. I can get some. See, because I've been with my wife 32 years, but we were like well on our way to a divorce at this time, and she was living over here and I was living over here, and all I would have to do was show up on her porch and she'd give me like $40 and a big old bag of dope. Get the fuck out of here. You know, it was great. It was really easy. And so I'm on my way to detox. We're going to take a little detour to her house. Out comes the arm with the money and the dope. I grab the dope, jump back in the car, and on the way to detox, I'm thinking, fuck, I'll never be able to get high again once again. And so it's rocks and shit, and so I'm pouring these rocks in my fucking nose. And shit's falling all everywhere, and I got this big fat joint in my mouth, and I forgot it was there, and it, you know how it is when you're all wired, you're like, and so this big old fat joint sticking out of my mouth, and I'm slobbering all over it, and rocks are falling out of my fucking nose. He takes me over to Oceanside, drops me, we go to this address, and this address is in an alley. I hand him the bag, and there's like half a line in the bottom of the fucking bag. He's like, thanks, homie. And rocks are all falling out of my nose. I got this joint hanging out. I got this sleeve wouldn't even button because, you know, back in you always wore the long sleeves, so the tracks didn't show. This one wouldn't even button because my wrist was so swollen up from missing. I'm covered with blood. I haven't taken a bath in 3 weeks. I get out of the car. I got this joint hanging out of my mouth that I forgot about. And I'm ready to get clean. And the guy comes out and he goes, welcome. And I'm thinking, this guy's gay. You know, because I wasn't welcome no place for a long time. I hadn't been welcome anywhere. And if you're gay, I'm not messing with you. I don't have any problem with you being gay. I have a problem with me being gay, but not you. And so anyway, I'm thinking, fuck, what's this guy want? And he goes, take your, I got a garbage bag with like one shoe in it. I'm not shitting you. I packed my own shit. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. What is in here? So I got a garbage bag, and it's one of those quilted ones. That's all I can remember is like a quilted garbage bag. I thought it was like Gucci or some shit. And so he goes, go sit in that room right there. And this room is, you know, it's maybe about a quarter the size of this room. And it's, I'm actually there about 10 minutes to 12, and I'm sitting in this room, and a couple people walk in, and they sit down, and then a few more people walk in, and they sit down, and then a few more people, and then within about 5-10 minutes, this room completely fills up. And I'm thinking, are all these people going to detox? Because I'm thinking real clear, you know, and I'm getting off real good on those rocks about then, and I'm thinking, maybe this is the detox. Maybe we're just going to sit in these chairs for 10 days. And I'm looking around to see if they're going to chain me to one of these chairs. And then the king and queen of NA came in, because there was a chair up, there were 2 chairs up here, right? And the king and queen walked in, and I'm thinking, and I'm sitting back there in death row, right? And I'm thinking, oh, they must be the king and queen. So they sit down and they had readings, they did the readings, and I didn't hear much. The only thing I heard was, I have a disease that I'm not responsible for, but I am responsible for my recovery. Now, I like that because, first of all, I wasn't responsible for shit anyway. So, hey, I'm legitimately not responsible for something, right? It said right there, I heard that shit. But I am responsible for my recovery, whatever that is. I had no idea. I thought recovery was we sit in this room here going like this here till somebody's not looking and we can slide out that back door and go get loaded. Because I didn't know there was something to replace the disease of addiction. That big hole right there, I didn't know that that's what this is all about, is filling up that hole. I had that big hole and I thought, what am I going to do? I got the wind whistling through me going, this is not going to work. I don't know. And I heard people talking. They were talking about having jobs and love and being with their family and all that shit. I'm like, what a bunch of squares, you know? And I didn't want really too much what you had, to be honest with you. And I sat through the whole meeting and I was doing pretty good, and they were kind of chanting. Now, I don't mean the chanting like, I mean, they were just saying like, keep coming back and stuff like that. And then at the end, they all got up and they touched each other. They all did this shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And, you know, white dudes touching black dudes, and I'm like, homie, don't play that shit. You know, I mean, back then, it's the way I am, you know, that's what we do. And I just like, because if you got this close to me, we were going to fuck or fight depending on who you were, you know? Just how shit was. And so they all touched each other. And then they chanted. And then I thought, this got to be like the back door into the church or something. There's some churchy shit going on here. And anyway, so then after the meeting, so that was my first meeting of Narcotics Anonymous. I was way high. And I got to tell you, being in an NA meeting is okay. Being high in an NA meeting is okay, but it's not really conducive to a good buzz. It's kind of bring you down. And so we all jumped out and we got on the Happy Bus. And that's that white van that you see going you ever been in a Happy Bus? I have. And you know what? The Queen of NA got on the Happy Bus with me. She was leading the meeting, and suddenly she's going to detox with me. And anyway, so we went to detox, and I was a little wired, and I fixed their TV for them. And I fixed their TV, man. I could have swore I was a VCR repair guy when I was on that shit. I had a stack of VCRs like this high. About that, 6 or 7 of them, and I thought I fixed them, but I didn't have electricity, so I didn't really know. I wasn't really sure. They should have worked, but I didn't have no electricity, so I don't know. Those are my prized possessions too, man. Hey, those are my VCRs, man. One of these days, I'm gonna get electricity. Yeah. So anyway, so I went to this detox, right, and they started taking me to NA meetings, and they said, get a sponsor. That's all I heard, man. Get a sponsor. Work the steps. Get a sponsor. Work the steps. So I thought, get a sponsor. And I see NASCAR, and I thought, well, they got sponsors. And I'm thinking, maybe I'll get a coat that says, like, NASCAR or DuPont or, I don't know. Maybe he'll give me some money. Because I'm thinking, sponsors give race cars money. Maybe I'll get a sponsor. So I started looking around for, like, a sponsor that was well-dressed. So he'd give me some money and shit. And I got this dude, big 6'7" dude from Connecticut. He had a real rough accent. And I said, hey, will you be my sponsor? And he goes, I don't know, I have to ask my sponsor. I said, what kind of shit is that? You're a grown-ass man. You gotta ask somebody? I mean, man up, dude. He goes, no, I gotta ask my sponsor. Pussy. So the next day I see him at a meeting. I said, well, did you ask him? Tough guy? And he goes, yeah, he said I could. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And so I go to this detox. I get 10 days clean. I'm 10 days clean. I get out of the detox. I got me a book. They gave me a book. And they cut me loose out of the detox, and I walk out into that alley that I had walked into 10 days earlier. And I've got, I'm clean. I'm feeling okay, and some of the scabs are starting to ease up, and the arm's not swollen up. And there he sits in his Firebird, and I walk up to him and I go, hey, dude, you gonna give me a ride home? And he goes, shut up and get in the car. I thought that was the first step. About the first 18 months, I thought that was shut up and get in the car. Oh, okay. So I shut up and got in the car, and he went driving I didn't know Oceanside very well, so he drove all around Oceanside and got me good and lost, and then took me to his house. I don't think he trusted me so good, When we rolled up to his house, I'm like, I have no idea where I'm at, and I think he did that on purpose because he had nice stuff. And it was a nice neighborhood, and guys like us look for nice neighborhoods, you know what I mean? We don't go to shitty neighborhoods to rip shit off, we go to nice neighborhoods. So I go to his house, and this is like 1996, and he's got a big screen TV in 1996. It weighed about 400 pounds, but I could have got it out of there. So he tells me, okay, here's the deal. We're going to get you into some kind of program or something, but for right now, you can sleep there on the couch, but you're going to cook, you're going to clean, you're going to vacuum, and you're going to go to 2 meetings a day. And here's the list of some people to call, and they're going to take you to meetings. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to, dude? I'm the kid. You don't talk to me like that. And he goes, well, you can go back to jail, whatever you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, fuck. Okay, I'll do the dishes and shit. And so I wound up cooking and cleaning and being the house mouse for a while. And I had this I was a tough guy, so I had this old leather jacket, and every time I went to a meeting, I went to 2 meetings a day, and it was, I'd put on this jacket, and I'd go to these meetings, and I'd be sitting in the meeting, and I'd be going, somebody's been making meth in this fucking meeting. It took me about a week to figure out it was my jacket. So every time I go there, I do an inventory, like, those people were here before, that guy was here, and I smelled somebody making meth at that meeting, so I had it all figured out. I had it down to about 3 people, and then figured out, then one day I opened up the closet and went, Jesus Christ, my sense of smell came back, and it was me that was making the meth. Imagine that. So, solved that mystery. So I threw the coat away, and I started getting, not brand new clothes, but people were like feeling sorry for me. They were buying me food, and they were giving me clothes and stuff, man, because I was dressed in rags when I got here. I took completely. And so I started working the steps, and I wasn't a member of Narcotics Anonymous like the day I got here, right? I mean, is anybody really here a member like the day you get here? I mean, some of us, go to one meeting and that's it, and we never use again, and that's cool. But I relapsed a couple times, or once. Anyway, but I wasn't really a member of Narcotics Anonymous until I was probably 13 or 14 days clean, and 2 things happened. One of them was my sponsor had me reading out of the Green and Gold book, that It Works How and Why. He had me reading the first step, and I'm reading, and the first 8 paragraphs are just nailing me. They're talking about incomprehensible demoralization. They're talking to me about denial. They're talking to me about switching drugs. All this stuff that I have done. And it's just nailing me. Boom, boom. How does this book know me so well? I'm like, damn. And then, and the night, I'm not much of a book quoter, but I know where this is. On the last sentence of the 9th paragraph of the first step in It Works How and Why, it says, we can no longer avoid the truth. And that was like reaching in my pocket and pulling out a rattlesnake. I was like, no shit. I'm a fucking addict. I am an addict. Oh no. And I was a little emotional when I got clean, and I started crying. I'm a fucking addict. And what's kind of funny about that is, I got a book in my hand that is going to save my life. But I'm sitting there crying, going, oh no, what am I going to do? And I got the book right in my hand. But I don't know that shit. It's like, it's right there. And I'm going, what am I going to do? I was a little emotional when I got clean. I got clean when Forrest Gump came out. Remember that movie? And my sponsor had electricity, so I got to watch movies that I hadn't seen, And Forrest Gump, man, I couldn't watch that. Get that part when Jenny got dead. Oh man, I'd be like, Jenny. Jenny. I was all fucked up. I was totally emotional. I'd see a Tide commercial, I'd be like, cute little baby. I was tore up, man. I don't mind telling you, I was a big old pussy. I couldn't help it. So, I started working steps, and I started being a member of this. Somebody told me to start showing up early. Well, I didn't have a ride. I didn't have a license or nothing. And I had lost a whole bunch of cars to the cops. And so somebody told me to do this the right way. Don't be driving around, get a license. And it took me about 18 months to pay off all the bullshit that I hadn't paid off before. And so I had to actually call people to come get me, to take me to meetings. And so the second thing that happened to me that made me a member of Narcotics Anonymous, the first one was I read We Can No Longer Avoid the Truth. The same day, my sponsor comes home from work and he says, did you take a bath today? And I flew into this rage. I don't know, what happened, dude. I came off the couch and I'm yelling at him. I hired you to get me off drugs. I didn't hire you to tell me what the hell to do. And spit's flying out my mouth, and I'm being very loud, and boy, I'm toning it way down for you guys, but spit's flying out my mouth, and in the back of my head, I'm going like, God damn, T-Bone, calm down. But I couldn't. I had lost it. He's telling me to take a bath. I go, what's a bath got to do with being clean, motherfucker? And he just looked at me like, yeah, more than I can handle, right? Thanks, God. So as soon as I said that, I went, and see, I had just been reading in the book that we have a disease of the mind. And I went, maybe there's something a little wrong with my way of thinking. Maybe my thinking is a little awry. So I went upstairs, took a bath. And that's when I became a member of Narcotics Anonymous, man. I mean, really, I thought, I'm an addict, and there's something wrong with my head. And you know what? I'm going to do something about it. I don't really think there's anything that I can't, because once you're a pickle, you can't be a cucumber no more, So I already knew, so I knew I was going to have to do something about it. So started working some steps with my sponsor, and they talk to you about getting to know yourself and getting to know other people. And you know what? I didn't know anybody when I got here. I didn't know anybody that was clean. I mean, Terry had been clean for a few years, but I hadn't seen Terry in 30 years, and I didn't know any clean people, and I didn't know how clean people do shit, And so I got out of the detox. I was at my sponsor's house for a few days, and then I went back to where I lived in that little bitty trailer, and which probably isn't the brightest thing to do, but by then, the obsession, for some reason, I knew I was done. We were talking about that earlier, and I just knew I was done. I said, I don't give a shit what anybody else is doing around me. I'm not going to use no matter what, and I haven't used since May 20th, 1996. And that ain't on me, that's on you guys, because I couldn't stay clean for 10 minutes, I just couldn't do it. And so anyway, I started going to meetings in Escondido, California, and they have big meetings. They have meetings that are about this many people. And Monday night, they had the Monday night countdown meeting, and so I go in there, and I don't know anybody, and I'm pretty scared. I was like this, but I was scared to death. And I just stepped inside the front door, and I just stood there right by the front door and was just like looking around, just making an appearance. I think I probably had a court card, and I went up, laid it up there, and I sat there, and I see this dude. There's this little bitty dude, red hair. He's about this tall. He's probably $135, and he's just bouncing from the meeting hadn't started yet. He's bouncing from one group of people to the other, and I'm thinking, what a cheerleader dude, And he's just real happy and bouncing and shit. And all of a sudden we make eye contact, and I'm like, oh no, this is bad. He's gonna come talk to me. And he's like, da, 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 da. And so I'm like this here, talking to myself, and I look up and he's over here, but he's closer. And I'm like, oh fuck. And I'm making like I'm talking to this guy that's next to me. He don't even know I'm standing next to him. I'm like, so that maybe he won't interrupt my conversation. And then I look and he's over here, and then he's over here, and then I look and he's right there. He goes, hi, my name's JJ. I want to welcome you to Narcotics Anonymous. What's your name? And I go, Tom. He goes, well, welcome, man. You know why I came over here, man? Because you have that look, man. I go, what look is that? And he goes, you're going to make it. You just got that look. And I'm like, I do? And he goes, yeah. And he was gone. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And so I go to 90 meetings in 90 days. My sponsor told me this shit. So I go to another meeting, another part of town, and there he is again. And he, hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Still got that look. You're gonna make it. I'm like, oh man, whatever. And then, this happens all week. It happens every night. By the time I'm like, hey, JJ, how you doing? He goes, hey, pretty good, Tom, how you doing? Good, man. He's gonna make it. I'm like, cool, yeah, no problem. And we became very, very good friends. And so I got a year clean, right? And I go, JJ, would you give me, back there we give cakes and tokens and stuff, birthday cakes and shit. And I said, JJ, would you give me a birthday cake? And he goes, I would be honored, man. So he gets in front of the same group of 100 people, and he goes, my name's JJ, I'm an addict. This is T-Bone or Tom or whatever they was calling me at the time. He goes, I never expected to see this guy at a second meeting. I'm like, that little prick lied. He's a car salesman. There it is. And he lied me into my first year clean. That little punk lied to me every day for a year till I got a year clean. And then he goes, this guy's a loser. I didn't expect him. Got me a year, and JJ became one of my best friends, you know. And right after I got a year clean, he was diagnosed as having AIDS. And you know, he was a dear friend of mine, and we got to really, really tight. And he called me down to his house one day, and he called me special down to his house, and he goes, "I'm gonna die, dude." I go, "What? You ain't gonna die. You got AIDS. Big fucking deal. Shut up." He goes, "No, I'm gonna die." He says, "It's coming. I'm gonna die, and I want you to have a few of my things. So when I go, I've already told my wife this is for you." And I'm like, "Shut up, dude. I don't want to hear this shit." And it was the first time I'd ever had that kind of interaction with anybody before. And I asked him, I said, "How the fuck, just dirty needles or you know?" And he goes, "No, man. I used to go down to the dirty bookstore and do tricks with dudes." And I'm like, "Dude," you know, because I'm kind of a hetero kind of guy, you know? And he was a hetero kind of guy. But he needed money, so he'd just go down to the dirty bookstore and turn some tricks, and that's how he got AIDS. And you know what? That kind of shit didn't matter to me anymore, because I loved that man. And I didn't give a shit how he got that, or what kind of sexual fucking shit goes on with people. That doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't give a shit what color you are. I don't give a fuck who you fuck or what you fuck or whatever. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, you know, it was a girl sheep with me. I don't freak. It was a girl sheep, you know. No, that's a bad joke. Anyway, throw that video away. You got that video, right? Okay. You know, but I love that man, and I was there. You know, when he passed away, he got real sick, and him and me by then we had the same sponsor, and he laid. We took him home and we got a hospital bed, and he sat in the middle of his living room. We had the TV on playing the CMT, because he loved country music. And that song came on, I can't remember, it's a Garth Brooks song, I Might Have Missed the Vein. You know what song that is? Huh? The Dance. It's on playing, and he dies. And this is no shit, I can't make shit like this up. And he dies with his fucking eyes open. Right? And so I seen all them cowboy movies and shit. I walk up there, I'm gonna close his fucking eyes. You wouldn't close them. I'm like, "Dude, close your fucking eyes. You're dead." And I'd close them and they'd pop back open again. I'd close, they pop. I'm like, because so when you see them when they do that shit at the movies, you know, that shit don't work. It takes some super glue or some shit. I don't know. So anyway, we had home group hats on. You know, he was a member of my home group, the Out There group. In San Diego, or actually in Valley Center, California, and we stuck his home group hat on him and sat there, and we had a big old party. There was like 40 people there, and we sat there and partied for about 4 or 5 hours. He got real stiff, you know, and but he sat there like he was just watching TV. He was just laying there like this here. It was great. I mean, there was something just great about it. He wouldn't shut his fucking eyes, little prick, and I just loved him. And anyway, so then, you know, he didn't want to be in a body bag. So when we finally called the morticians, we said, "Don't put him in a body bag." We wrapped him up, and his brothers, you know, we wrapped him up, and then we put him in the ambulance, and they took him away to the morgue. And you know, that's heavy shit. That's good shit. That's the best I can hope for. You know, he died clean with his friends all around him. And he didn't go in a fucking body bag, and he didn't die in the back of a dumpster. And this was my first experience with this kind of heavy shit, and I'm sorry if I'm bringing you down with that stuff, but this is what real men fucking do, okay? This is what really happens. And since then, I've been involved with, you know, several other friends that have died too, but I won't get all morbid on you there, but what's funny about that is he died on April 23rd The next Christmas, I get a fucking Christmas card from JJ. He wrote out a bunch of Christmas cards, gave them to my sponsor, and my sponsor mailed them out to everybody. And they were all signed from JJ. That's fucked up. I opened it up, and it's like, and it's a real wrinkly writing, real, like I'm dying kind of shit. Merry Christmas, T-Bone. I'm like, that's fucked up. I said, where'd you get this? From JJ. My sponsor mailed out about 20 of them. It was funny. I mean, we have some fun. That's some funny shit. I still got that card, man. It's just, I want to talk for a minute about a home group. Back when I was in the detox, there was I checked the schedule, and to much to my surprise, I live in a little bitty town out up in the foothills of California, or I did. And they had a meeting there, and I started going to this meeting, and it's called the Out There meeting. And when I went there was like 4 people that went there. We didn't have enough people to even do the readings. And our area went broke. Somebody made off with some money. I've never heard of that happening before. And we were broke. And so we as a home group decided to throw this party. And so we had a friend that raised pigs, so we got a couple pigs. I knew a guy that played in a blues band, and we went and rented it. We had another friend that was a caretaker at this city park. We got the city park, we got the blues band, we got the pigs, and we had a party, and we raised a bunch of money for the area, donated it straight to the area. It was called the Pig Out. And that worked so well that we did it every year. But one thing was missing that first one that we did. I've been a guitar player since the first time I saw the Beatles. The day after the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, I picked up the guitar. Actually, I started playing bass. I thought, well, the day before I got clean, I went and sold a bunch of my amps. I had old vintage Fenders and Gibsons and stuff, and I sold them because I thought, I'll never be able to play music again. Because music is a great hustle for an addict. It is. That and Harley Davidsons are a great hustle for ugly addicts. Yeah, you feel me? And I got all that shit. So I never thought I would play again. And 15 days clean, I started working for this tree company, and I only worked for like 4 hours for them, because that's hard shit. And I was throwing branches in this chipper, and we're at this guy's house, and I look, and it's the bass player for the Little River Band. And I recognize him, and I go, hey, dude, what's up? And I start talking to him, and I happen to know that he was, well, anyway, he says, you can still play. You can still do all that stuff. And long story short, I put a band together for the next Pig Out the next year, and I've been playing with the same band now for 15 years. I fly to San Diego a couple times a year, and we do a gig. The last gig we did, or the gig before last, we played at the World Convention. And, that's an honor. For me to be playing up there in front of all these thousands of people at the World Convention is the highlight of my musical career, and I had told myself I could never play again, told myself I could never ride again, and I got the nicest Harley out there, I got a real nice bike, and I do a lot of riding. All my dreams are coming true. I mean, I had to go get some new fucking dreams, because all my just normal, nice pickup, big stereo, Harley Davidson, playing some music, all those common dreams came true. And now I've got to look at like peace of mind and shit. And I'm like, peace of mind? Who the fuck is going to come up with that for a dream when you're new? But today I do, man. I went to my first World Convention in 1998 in San Jose, and I came back and I was speaking for my very first time, and I was 18 months clean, and there was 2 people sitting like right there. The whole time I'm speaking and I'm talking to them, and I'm going, now, you guys just stay clean and everything's gonna be all right, and you just keep coming back, and it's gonna be cool. And I got done speaking, and my sponsor comes up to me and goes, hey man, I want you to meet your new grand sponsor. They're in town right now. And he goes over, and I'm talking to these fucking people right here. I'm going like, welcome, and it's my grand sponsor. I thought that was funny shit. I'll tell you a quick 8-step story, and then I'll shut up, I guess. But when I was like about a year and a half clean, I got a phone call from a lady, and she said she's my sister. And I'm like, I ain't got a sister. And it turned out, I never knew my real dad. And that's not like an excuse why my mom nursed me on the wrong titty, so now I'm an addict. It ain't like that, okay? I didn't meet my dad, so I gotta shoot dope. It ain't like that, but I never met my dad, right? And so, but my real dad went and had another family elsewhere, and they got a hold of me because he had died. And so that was over Phoenix. He was in Phoenix, and so I went over to Phoenix and met my half family. And they took me out to his gravesite, and it was a military gravesite, and all the graves are, of course, they're exactly the same, right? And I'm standing there above my dad's grave, and they're all crying. My half family that I've never met before, they're just sobbing. And I'm feeling nothing. I'm not trying to sound like a tough guy, but I felt nothing. And it came to me that I had a son out there that I had never met. And so I thought to myself, I'm not going to let this go around like this again. And so I went back home to San Diego, and a couple weeks later was Father's Day, and I went to a Sunday morning meeting, and the topic was fathers, and they were talking, and all of a sudden usually I think of some really cool shit I'm going to say before I share, right? But my hand just went up, and I said, you know what, I have a son out there, and I'm going to try to find him. And this was in '98, and there wasn't a whole lot of computer use then per se, but somebody said, hey man, we'll try to look him up on the computer. Long story short, this was Sunday morning at a 9 o'clock meeting, and by 5 o'clock that night, I was talking to my son on the phone. And that's NA, that's God. That ain't odd, that's God, okay? And so I got in touch with my son. He was living up in Washington, and I flew up and met him, and I got off the plane, and I looked across, and there was me standing over there. All right, hey, no DNA test right here, Got to know him, and him and me went out to Jimi Hendrix's grave at the Greenwood Cemetery, and I told him, you know what, dude, I've been a shitty dad, and I don't ask for your forgiveness. I just want you to know that if you'd like to have some sort of relationship from here on out, that would be great. And if not, I'd understand that too. And he goes, I've been waiting all my life for this. And long story short, he moved back to Iowa and started a business, and I moved back to Iowa 3 years ago and helped him with that business. And now things are going pretty good, and I miss my people. I'm going to move back to California. But I patched up that big hole where my son was. I was doing some night step shit. Didn't turn out really that perfect even, but I did what I was supposed to do. And that's some, I don't know about you, but that's some big shit with me. I'm patching up this hole with my son. My dad and I never saw eye to eye. Now my dad answers the phone, hello, T-Bone. We have a lot of fun, me and the old man. He's like 84, and he's mellowed out, I've mellowed out, and so that's the two things that I really needed to do to patch up with my family, and I'm in pretty good shape there. And I've done what I'm supposed to do in Iowa. I got the house up for sale. I'm headed back for San Diego. I don't give a shit how much it costs, because that's where my fucking people are. That's the people that I got clean. I'll be honest with you, some of us don't transplant so well. Man, I've seen a lot of people move and come back newcomers. And when I moved to Iowa, I said, I'm going to throw rocks at those people. I don't care how they do NA, because however they do it, some of them are staying clean. And however they do it, that's how I'm going to do it too. And I brought what I could bring, and some of that shit didn't go real well, like the chanting thing. They'll never ask me back to Minnesota. I got up, I was speaking at a big thing up in Minnesota, and I called them clowns 3 times in the first sentence that I got up there. Because they were chanting all that boing shit, and I just went up, my mouth just started going like, and my wife's down there like, shut up. I'm like, yeah, you're a bunch of fucking ass clowns. Knock that shit off. Because those, thank you for not chanting, because that stuff, those readings were written in the blood of our predecessors. And you know what? When I got here, if people would have been making a bunch of racket and I wouldn't have heard that shit, I would have made it. I would not have made it. That tells who we are, what we're about, and how we do shit. And man, that needs to be heard clearly. And I'm not trying to be a Nazi, but that needs to be heard clearly. And everything in Narcotics Anonymous is self-correcting, except that. Because the chanting thing needs to go away. But you know, I've seen a guy, thank you. Yeah. Sponsors tell your sponsees not to do that shit. You new guys, don't do that shit. Because what happens is we got people here whose lives are hanging in a balance, and they're waiting on their cue to say boing, and they miss the fucking sentence before and after that, and people die over that shit. I don't want that blood on my hands. I don't want that blood on my hands. And so, you know, every problem in here is self-correcting, though. I mean, I got to Des Moines, and so suddenly I'm like the NA police or some shit, right? And people are calling me up, hey, you know so-and-so, he started a meeting that's got an NA symbol and an AA symbol, and they've got all kinds of different literature on the table, and they're mixing it all together, and I'm going like, so? And I know it's wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm an NA guy 100%. But it's like, I said, just leave him alone. And you know what? Within about 6 or 8 months, people went, hey, you know what? This is wrong. This sucks. Fuck this guy. And it was one guy wanting to be famous, you know, and now he's on the outside. You know, he's on the outside of this thing. And it's self-correcting, you know. I mean, you got all kinds of stuff that, you know, like messing with newcomers. Go ahead. If you want to mess with newcomers, go ahead. But guess what? When she gets back on the train to Crazy Town, they don't sell them tickets one at a time. They sell them 2 at a time, motherfucker. And that train don't stop till Fuckville. You know? You know what I mean? I mean, go ahead and mess with a newcomer. They're crazy, and they're real fun, but that shit, it never lands nice. It never ends nice. I've never seen that. Well, we have a very successful relationship. You don't hear that shit coming from that. It's like, that bitch is crazy. Well, yeah, she was crazy when she got here. You gave her 9 days, motherfucker. You know? Fuck you. You fucking cripple fucking motherfucker. No. Anyway, did I say that out loud? Anyway, sorry, dude. Filter broke. Anyway, man, I just wanted to close with this, man. Narcotics Anonymous is the best thing that ever happened to me. You guys that are new, people that are new here, I know that I always used to think if I could just get enough money, if I can get enough drugs, if I can get enough sex, everything's going to be all right. If the cops would just get off my case, if my wife would get off my ass, if my girlfriend would quit calling my wife. Damn! You know? Everything would be okay. You know what? And now I've gone the exact opposite way and just stayed clean. And done a few simple suggestions around here. I have a life that is beyond my wildest fucking dreams. That sounds gay as fuck, I know, but it's true. It's beyond. Anybody else believe that shit's beyond your wildest fucking dreams? See, they're gay too. Anyway, if nobody told you they love you today, find a mirror and do it yourself. Thank you.